That is one of those introductions that you don't hear, you feel. Welcome along to the final point, the pointy end of this ESL One in Katowice 2018. We are just a few hours away from knowing who the first ever Dota 2 major champion is to be crowned in Poland. It is the lion's share of $1 million prize pool. It is going to be a great series coming up, a best of 5 between the best 2 teams that we have seen across 6 days of competition. It starts off 2 weekends of action here in Katowice, a great place. For me, the beating heart of esports, not just in Europe, for me, in the world. It's debatable where that is. I just love it here, and I love you, and you are a great crowd, ready to see 2 teams battle it out. Katowice, are you ready? I said, Katowice, are you ready? They are ready, so let us bring the teams out right now. They are backstage. I looked into their eyes. They're not nervous, they are focused. Your first team for this grand final playing for that trophy is ViCi Gaming. It'd be a pretty boring grand final if we just had one team. So who is taking on ViCi Gaming? Well, they are a team that we think over the past day have become the team that they really can be. They've looked great and they are here to take that trophy. Please welcome Virtus.pro. Loves me a championship Sunday. ViCi, are you ready? They're ready. Virtus.pro, you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on! Guys, get to your computers. Let's get this championship Sunday underway. It's time for a best of 5. I love this. Red Eye, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, OJ. Yes, welcome to Championship Sunday. Welcome to the grand final for ESL One Katowice. A chance to crown a champion for the 2nd time in history in ESL One, as both of these have previously won an ESL One. Time for the first ever double champion. It's taken 10 events to get there, but finally we are there one way or another. But which way is it going to go? That's the big question that we've got to ask right now. And we've got 3 men to answer that question. Alongside me for the grand final, we've got Nahaz, we've got Purge, and we've got Cap. Welcome, guys. Grand final is upon us. 6 days have whizzed by, Alan. I don't even know where 6 days of Dota have gone.
I mean, it's been absolutely crazy, and it's been completely unpredictable from the opening bell.
Yeah, it has, isn't it? Almost every match, every draft has been difficult, Kevin.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of change that's happened from the beginning to the end, so it's been fun to see the Dota progress, and I can't wait to see what they do for the grand finals.
And Cap, you did the 3rd, 4th place game, now you're doing the grand final. It's a bit job for everyone you've got.
Yeah. 3rd place was interesting, that's for sure.
I think that's a good categorization.
Yeah, Liquid definitely solidified. They're like, hey, we are definitely the 3rd place team here, not 4th, especially with that first performance and that 3rd game. I feel like they were pretty solidified. Yeah. And it just brought a recurring theme to me, which is Terrorblade. Terrorblade really is, in many ways, the hero of the tournament.
Okay, well, it's ebbed and flowed all the way through. There's been a few like DK moments or gyro moments. There's been a few that could be brought out of that as well, with Razor with its high win rate as well. We'll talk about heroes in just a moment, Alan, but how these two teams match up is very interesting. They've already played that one game in the group stages. How much of that can we take and bring into the grand final?
I think ordinarily the answer would be a lot, because VP yesterday, again, I felt really, really good about ViCi Gaming winning this tournament as we came into the main event venue here. But boy, oh boy, VP showed me yesterday that if you give them some information, they're going to figure out. Well, let's keep in mind, okay, this ViCi team has already won 2 best-of-3 series against Liquid in the same tournament. When's the last time somebody has done that? I think they're looking pretty good in this rematch. I think it's going to be very tough.
Okay. Kevin, I have to ask, this team have potentially 3 players that could quite rightly claim the MVP. Is that enough to take them through the grand final?
Well, you got to win the more games. I think that's genuinely more important. But they have so much star power. I think it's definitely a possibility. It just comes down to, can they win the team fights? Like every player on every single one of these top 4 teams, you could say, are amazing Dota players. But it ultimately comes down to who performs better in the moment, what drafts are better, who wins the fights.
Yeah, they've definitely had those 3 performing all the way through these last 5 days.
And the 3 you're talking of are the 3 cores, correct?
Yeah.
That's what we've been talking about on the desk quite a bit.
I mean, Ori's up there,
Paparazzi,
Paparazzi's had some
11.
amazing games, 11, yeah.
I think that's a little unfair to only say there's only 3 potential MVPs, because I think Fenrir and Lanham is actually maybe the best support duo here in their interactions with each other. They've been very strong. Roger has definitely put in some really good performances on VP. Liquid obviously has GH with Kuro and stuff, but I do think that ViCi Gaming can definitely lay claim to arguably best duo.
Okay, I was going to ask you about their style. It's very predictable. Everyone knows how they're going to play. They kind of know what they're going to do in the game, but they're just so good at it. Again, are Virtus.pro going to have something for that? And if so, do you think they've got enough?
I actually have no idea what Virtus.pro's game plan is going to be here against ViCi Gaming. I think they are going to have to take the pace of game to ViCi Gaming in that first game and just see what happens, right? If you can actually, like, if VP can't keep up with ViCi Gaming or vice versa, then we're going to have to fall back on some sort of strategy. But I would like this very first game of the best of 5 just to be a clash of just, like, early game titans and just see how the brawl goes.
I think we're going to be talking about a lot about the lanes again. I'm sorry to play this like a broken record, but so much of this tournament has been about the offlane meta and the way it's evolved. And if you take the EG series yesterday, the story was which team could run that aggro lane more effectively, threaten the enemy safe lane, and if you could sustain it, generate space for your own safe lane core to farm. I mean, the game that EG won, it was basically they were diving VP's top lane continuously, and Archer was just free farming on the Luna bottom, and eventually you get that Wisp Aghanims talent, and it's GG. I think you're going to see a lot of the same today. I think it's going to be, the story of these games is going to be a lot in the laning phase, and it's then going to be about execution, because we saw in the closing game yesterday against EG, where EG basically picked arguably 4 out of the top 5 heroes in the tournament, and VP said, fine, we're just going to out-execute you with our team play.
Yeah, I agree that the early laning stage is really important, but if you look at the VP series where they played against ViCi Gaming before, game 1 they had a large advantage and it didn't look like they could lose it. So lanes do matter,
45 minutes.
But ultimately it comes down to team fighting and heroes that revolve around that, and that's exactly what ViCi Gaming does. So they end up 2-0ing that series. I think VP's got to do more than just win the lanes. They got to win the team fights too.
Virtus.pro is truly incredible at playing around each other when it comes to team fights. I think that's something that has dated back for over a year now, that this team has always played really well around each other. Sometimes it leads them into traps where they think to themselves like, oh, we can keep playing around each other, that they just don't give up that one-off pick. They'll be like, no, we can actually outplay this, we can save him, and then maybe a bad team fight recurs because of that, rather than just giving away the one man. But when they are on point and when they're right about when they can outplay, it looks so cool.
Yeah. Kevin, does that play into ViCi a little bit? Because they've been superb this last 5 days at having that one guy somewhere on the map, and the team think, yeah, we can dive, we can. Actually, the other 4 are just waiting for that to happen. They're literally waiting. They could dive back in, and almost like a bait, if you like.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that describes ViCi super hard, just because they do 5-man a lot. And all of their itemization is aimed around this 20-minute 5-man period. Something that people keep saying in the green room is, man, they just keep going phase, drum, BKB on gyro, because they know that they're just going to grab a couple early game items and they want the BKB. That way they know any fight they can take, and they're all their heroes are ready. And then later they'll worry about scaling late game, because ultimately they care about the objectives, about winning team fights, and then getting the benefits that gives you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 2 things strike me when I'm thinking about ViCi going into this, and why I still have them kind of a little bit favored in this series. And one is that I think you saw with Liquid at TI, they're leaving themselves a plan B, okay? They have that 5-man potential. They have that idea that we can super tank up on these cores and exploit regen stacking like we were talking about at Genting, so that even if we do get behind in this game, we're gonna give ourselves at least a chance to win as the game goes later and later. And the other thing is, if you look at how VP just absolutely dismantled Fnatic last night, it was making sure that they got no one in an extremely favorable matchup against Abed on the other side, so that Abed wasn't going to be able to take over the game. You can't do that against ViCi because Ori, 11, and Paparazzi are all just capable of taking over the game. It's not going to be a matter of you take one of those guys out.
Okay, I want to talk to you guys about mentality as they both get ready for this first draft. On one side of things, Cap, you've got Virtus.pro who come into this, they've already won a major, they've already won a minor, they're successful so far this season. Every time they got to a grand final, they've won it. On the other side of that, you've got ViCi, who've made 3 grand finals, haven't won any of them.
Yep.
And then you've got another flip to that, which is that their record against Virtus.pro over the last few months is 5-1. So, which version of the mentality do they take into the game?
Oh, I think the team matchup is far more important than the grand finals. Best of 5 does change things, obviously, in these matchups. They never had a best of 5 together, right? So that does change things a bit, or maybe it doesn't if you just close it out 3-0.
Right. Well, that's true. That's good maths, Cat. Well done.
Thank you.
The master over there would be proud.
I'm so proud of you guys. Paul takes my head-to-head stat. No, I'm actually happy you did, because I actually think, honestly, if you look at Chinese teams the last few years, it's basically been, look, we're going to come out of the Chinese New Year, we're going to hit our stride around March, and we're going to carry that momentum into TI. And by that metric, maybe this ViCi team is peaking a little bit earlier than we expected. But I don't think it's really about the 0-3 finals record for them. I don't think it's about even the matchup against VP for them. I just think for this ViCi team, it's about, look, we have this ridiculously talented roster, and we're just going to play on this level, and we're going to make you matches.
Okay, Kevin, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the matchup-wise, I think ViCi it just seems so close. They won the match earlier, but they lost early games often, but they were better at team fighting. I think maybe it comes down more to the right hero that ViCi uses to ensure that they win the game. So I guess drafting-wise, if Virtus.pro can identify what that hero is, I think maybe it's Death Prophet. Identify the hero, maybe find a way to draft around it, and that'll give VP the advantage that can allow them to overpower early game and win late game team fights.
For me, it's the duo of Gyrocopter DK that I never want to see allowed ever again on the same team. I think that duo actually covers each other's weaknesses really well. You have the magic damage coming out from the Gyrocopter. They both hit their mid-game stride really well. The DK really guards against many of the single-target physical damage dealers that are left in the game that we've seen oftentimes is very successful for the 5th picks. Other than that, I was actually thinking about VP and the regard to Roger. Look, Roger has had a great performance, but we always said on Na'Vi that he played really, really well on a limited number of heroes.
Right.
And this tournament, he has not had the most diversity, right? I've seen so many Naga Sirens and Sand Kings from him.
And so that's, again, of the heroes that we haven't talked about yet, the big one is going to be Naga, which is a staple at the top of the draft for both these kings. I think it's between them, it's over 20 straight drafts that it's either been banned in the first phase or picked first overall. And I think that's huge. I think the Roger Sand King is also a hero that overlaps a lot from team to team. It's surprising because you wouldn't necessarily say that these teams play similar styles, but there is actually quite a bit of overlap in the hero pools.
I think the one that sticks out to me that doesn't is Chen, probably.
Yeah.
That only Virtus.pro ends up running that. So maybe there's a couple heroes like that they can exploit, force their opponents to ban it. That would be a really good start for Virtus.pro. Maybe if they can take an early Chen win, that's a 1-ban advantage for the rest of the series.
Yeah, and neither of these two teams are really Beastmaster teams either. So there are some heroes. That's going to be interesting too, because as it gets later and later into the tournament, we've talked about how all of these teams are sort of following the tournament meta and basing their evaluations off of their opponents. You wonder whether you're going to see some of these heroes that have featured prominently throughout the tournament but aren't necessarily staples for a particular team come up in their repertoire.
Yeah, I mean, there are a list of, what are we looking at now? Right, 7 or 8 heroes now with 70+ win rates still, which is it's absurd all the way through this tournament. Razor is in there, ET, Bane, DK, the brew I've got on this list, but only because it's been so bad. It's 12 games played for just the 1 win. It's 8.3%, which is absurd because it was picked almost exclusively on the first 2 days and not since. Earth Spirit also decent win rate, only 6 games, but 83% win rate. And Underlord and Bat are also above 70% right now. I haven't had that many games either, 7 games each. It's extraordinary, Kevin. Why has this happened specifically here? Normally we see the win rates kind of drop down the more the games are played.
Yeah, there's generally more games played at other tournaments is one thing. Group stages end up, you play every team once, something like that. So you get this larger set of data. I think ban, if you included ban information with those picks, we'd probably learn a lot more, because I do feel like situationally all of those heroes are good, but maybe the teams that have trended into them towards the end of the tournament are always selectively picking them at the right time. Right. So I'm sure that's influencing things as well.
So, I mean, before this tournament, when I made my list of sort of S-tier heroes, okay, it read Terrorblade, Beastmaster Razor, DK, Tiny, Elder Titan were sort of the heroes that I was sure about, and I think I had Bane and Lycan with the question mark, and Bane has sort of risen in the ranks of the tournament on, Lycan has fallen, all right? And I think, again, not just when you look at the win rates in the tournament, but when you look at like the ELO adjusted metrics for the patch and for 2018 overall, all those heroes shine there as well.
Yeah. Do these results affect either of these two teams? And it says, you mentioned, you know, they don't play all of these meta heroes right now. They're not absolutely on them, but do you feel like maybe Virtus.pro have a little bit more flexibility?
Yeah, that's one thing that I think potentially makes it relevant that this is a best of 5, is that Virtus.pro is a team that has had a lot of success in the past, picking up heroes that they haven't necessarily run in the past very quickly within the scope of a tournament, and that may be something that ViCi has yet to show us.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a core hero, in your opinion, for ViCi that they have to get hold of?
I think it's pretty important for, well, to go on the versatility, I'm going to say it's important for Virtus.pro to be able to beat certain heroes. If they could beat like the Naga Siren, then that in turn forces ViCi Gaming to be banning it, because Virtus.pro is quite good with it as well. ET is another hero, like Lanham ET, sure, but also just the fact that it is such a lane dominator, and we're seeing how important that is for this tournament. Other than that, ViCi Gaming, I mean, I think ultimately they're a team that just needs to be able to succeed with their first strategy.
Still think that Death Prophet's huge. Like,
yeah,
every game Ori played it, he plays amazing. It does pretty much everything they want to do. You can adjust your item builds based on the situation the heroes are against. It gives favorable 1v1 matchups against a lot of those sort of dead lane but still effective heroes like Viper. So I think it fits their playstyle, or he can use it really well, and I think that's going to be a big hero for this series.
Yeah, I think that just to finish our point, because we talked about Roger on the other side being somebody whose hero pool is potentially a little bit limited, subject to attack during the draft. I think Ori is that.
Yeah, and that was the point. Yeah, I was going to bring that up with you, because he's only played 3 heroes so far.
Exactly, and that's, again, we were talking about that backstage, and that may be a little bit of a knock against him in the MVP discussion, but I think his SF is also excellent. We haven't seen as much of that during the tournament. He played a very, very good puck at Captain's Draft and going back before that, and of course the Dragon Knight is always there if he needs it. But I expect to see a lot of mid bans from Virtus.pro early on in the draft, and I think you might actually see a first phase Death Prophet.
I mean, there's always a risk with that, though, isn't there? Because you ban out the 3 he's played, and he might have something better that he was saving.
I do feel like Death Prophet is the hero that I would let loose if I'm VP on that first game, because I feel like if I can beat the Death Prophet, first of all, I feel like Death Prophet is an easier hero to beat than the Dragon Knight, even if the Death Prophet is better for ViCi Gaming overall. Other than that, also being able to leave out the DK for yourself, as we've seen Virtus.pro do that a couple times, even last night, rotating it into Pasha's position. Other than that, the other mids, I mean, again, I don't think you should be giving away DK to ViCi Gaming in the 3-4. 1-2, I don't think there's a whole lot you could do about that.
Okay, I'm going to ask you in just a moment to pick your winner of the grand final, but why don't we join Shiva right now and see if she's got some answers with the fans who are waiting patiently for the grand final.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. I'm standing here with a couple of Slovakians. We have Stanley, Patrick, and Matush, and you guys came all the way on the road trip from Slovakia.
Yeah, we actually, well, I live in Czech Republic, but yeah, we came here. I just...
I think you've got some fans out here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm 3K trash, so probably not.
Well, I mean, I have 3 of you here, but you came actually with a lot of bigger group.
Yeah, 9 of us, actually. But the other 4 are buying some stuff, t-shirts or something.
How does that work? You've got 9 people, but you can only fit 5 people in a Dota group. Who gets left behind?
I guess anybody. We are just fun, you know.
Yeah, you don't try to go pro with each other?
No, we suck, really.
You can always try, you know. You don't have to be one of the best to enjoy playing competitively. So I have a question because we're standing here in front of the MVP trophy. Who do you have as your MVP?
Well, I don't really know, but if I have to choose, I would choose Paparazzi, maybe. Yeah.
But I heard you're still cheering for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, Virtus.pro. Their play style is really, really good. So I like their play style. And it's fun to watch.
And how about you? Who's your MVP?
I think Roger from VP. His Naga plays like when he played against the Bane, like every nightmare removed with an illusion, in a split second. Really great plays, really great saves, meteor hammers, everything.
All right, Stanley, your MVP?
I would go with GH and his plays on Elder Titan. Damn, that was so good.
But he's not in the finals.
Yeah, that's very good. He deserves it, of course.
He actually told me that he would give, if he gets a car, GH would give it to his mom.
Yeah, I would do the same.
All right, fair enough. Well, I mean, congratulations, not congratulations. Good luck to the guys that you have voted for your MVP. You guys can vote for your MVP still as well. Grand Finals is going to start very soon, though, so we are going to head back to Paul.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, thank you for travelling all the way down to join us here in Katowice as well. It's a long journey. I know there's a number of you out there have made very long journeys. We thank all of you for joining us. We hope you've had a great weekend of Dota 2. It's not over yet, no, the grand final is not too far away. We're looking forward to the draft. A couple of quick more questions before we head there. I want to pick up on something that GH mentioned on the stage. He said he's really looking forward to the final because he's excited by what ideas both teams had. Explain what he meant by that.
Dota at its core, and you especially see this at TI because it's a 2-week tournament, Dota is a game of ideas. The teams, as the tournament goes on, generate ideas that will give them advantages, and it's about understanding a concept and being able to execute that concept and being able to leverage it to gain the maximum advantage possible. And what's stunning is over the last couple of years, as the level of play has risen, you see these small ideas generating tiny, tiny advantages in the game that end up deciding thousands and thousands of dollars on stage.
Yeah, and I think a good example of that was when they were looking for an offlane hero that could lane against Terrorblade, and they picked Doom, a hero that hasn't been touched much this tournament, and all of a sudden the players think, oh, I can actually contest a Terrorblade with that hero, and now maybe in the future he'll get banned. It's like little things down the line, especially when a team like ViCi is just watching other teams play. They want to see what the strategies other teams develop, because it'll all come down to the finals and how those ideas influence it.
So thinking about the first 3 bans, what I was wanting to get at was the 3. Razor, Naga,
It's okay,
EG.
Cat, we believe you, we believe you.
It's very similar to the way the EG drafted, but I feel like Batrider is an unnecessary ban because if ViCi Gaming is going to want to anything, it's going to be the Death Prophet. I don't feel they're going to open with Batrider and Death Prophet. I think that leaves you too open to be counterpicked.
I feel like they open with maybe Bane then. That's been their other sort of first pick staple when the ET and the Naga had been banned. That's a hero that Fenrir can relieve a lot of pressure in the lanes with.
Can you still first pick the Death Prophet though? I agree that they probably won't pick Bat afterwards, but
I think you should just second pick it here. But yes, you could still 1-2 it.
They may also, if they're going to go core, I think they first pick Gyro.
Yeah, I think that's the one. That's the most popular one so far here.
Because it also VP has second overall pick here, and so many times now second pick they've gone. Okay, so they do go the Bane route, and then you expect Virtus.pro to come back with Gyro Sand King.
A classic. But Sand King's banned actually. That's a second ban from ViCi Gaming.
Oh god. Okay, so well, all right. I'll settle for half right.
And getting the Bane.
All right.
There are not too many of those forward position, 4 positions now. And
it's a combo with Gyro. I mean,
I think Gyro combos with everybody though.
I'm okay with Tusk. I actually thought Tusk was perfectly fine pickup for most of this tournament, and he fell off.
They've been using Warlock.
is that Chen's out? Oh, Omni. Okay. Okay.
I just feel like Tusk sometimes has games where he doesn't do that much. It's like if you're roaming and people don't expect you and you show up and gank mid, then it's great. But with all these dual lanes, Tusk doesn't impact, I feel like, as well as a hero like Bane, who just trades better, can be better late game. Like Tusk just becomes this like, I'm gonna save somebody with Snowball kind of hero is what it feels like.
I agree with you, but I think for me it's the fact that they have Gyrocopter. I think those, like they enable each other.
That's
in
true.
many ways.
For Rocket Barrage Chase and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I actually really like the Omni, and I was wondering if it was going to scare them off, the Death Prophet, but they're going to stick to their guns.
Why do you think it would scare him off from a DP?
Because the Guardian Angel still gets rid of all physical damage, including Exorcism, right?
ViCi Gaming
yes.
very likely just to play an initiation heavy style where they can get that jump and then follow up with the AoE silence from the Death Prophet can still be very effective.
They get rid of the Rubik now.
Yeah, that's I expect that VP would ban the Rubik here. I mean, Rubik Bane is a little bit, it's not necessarily the favorite support duo of
but
ViCi.
it's a better counter for Omni, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, Rubik does you steal Purify and all, but I feel like in the laning stage, he is still a weakness.
Yep.
I feel like that was genuinely what got discovered this tournament. I mean, not that people didn't know, but they thought it was okay before. It is curious to see the Omni get picked back up, though. It kind of gotten left to the side the last couple days.
Well, I think the big turnaround was VP third picked it yesterday. I believe it was in the first game against EG, and it really had a great game. And I think that sort of solidified.
That was the one against Ursa, right? It goes.
Yeah. The Fear Ursa was the last pick in that game. That's right.
Yeah, Jaro most picked at ESL One Katowice. It'll take some doing to topple him as well. Rubik second most picked.
10 seconds remaining.
Tiny's not banned.
Virtus.pro
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's only the 7th or 8th time that he's made it second phase in the
Yeah,
tournament.
he's
out of 60
sneaking out
games.
there farther and farther and farther, and I just keep on double checking myself, just
Yeah.
making sure like, oh, he is still out there.
Oh, Tiny DK both in the pool.
Yeah, DK, I assume ViCi Gaming is going to be banning,
10
Um,
seconds remaining.
mostly because I think you can't get the Viper on your team really,
5
or it's not
seconds
very
remaining.
easy, let's say.
Do you think ViCi
You're-
Gaming banned the DK? I think they can take it, actually.
Or leave it through. I still think the Death Prophet is ultimately good against Dragon Knight in the late game.
Yeah.
It's like a really good damage source, so I think that's one of the benefits of the DP opening, personally. They could also take it, but I don't think they need to ban it, at least. They do ban Tusk, so that would have been good for VP.
Yeah, I really like that. I just expect to see, given the opens, right? You expect to see support bans. Because we had 3 cores out of 4 heroes open. It's been a rarity in this tournament.
Unlikely ban, but farther down the line. Virtus.pro, or excuse me, ViCi Gaming, Juggernaut, maybe, farther down the line.
Sure.
Have paired it with both the Bane and the DP during this tournament.
I mean, I feel like they have to do it here, because it'd definitely be like 3rd or 4th, probably 4th picked, I would guess. If it does get, I mean, technically it's good against both teams right now, but
Yeah, they left it till 5th pick.
there's a hero we forgot about. Caudle, very consistently banned in first phase last few days.
What about the laning counters to the Omni Knight? The Ursa, big physical damage counters.
10 seconds remaining.
Not a lot of those in ViCi's pool.
I think you want to be able to see
5 seconds remaining.
a
Virtus.pro
couple of
turn to
supports
pick.
first.
Okay.
It's like a lot of area control that ViCi banned out. I wonder if that says something. I mean, DP is certainly a bit vulnerable to that, but
That takes away, or at least inhibits, Underlord a bit.
It's also a ViCi hero.
It is, and that was a Chinese support staple during TI7. I mean, takes away the old 5th pick Paparazzi Alchemist.
Yep, they last played AA in their last game
5 seconds
against Team
remaining.
Liquid. That was also alongside a DP.
it's definitely pretty good against her. Even if you land Ice Blast and it doesn't do damage, like just the debuff alone is huge because it prevents her healing. And especially with all the DP builds, it's very much about Spirit Siphon and Yule Scepter. It's not so much about being tanky, so if you can't regen, they can certainly secure kills. Amplifies gyro damage, it's a lot of good benefits. In some ways, it's a little bit surprising to me that it was picked first because it's the first support, but I do agree that it was partially a block pick. Or at least suspect, maybe. I mean, ViCi Gaming just gets something divey and mobile, I feel like, right now, because VP's lockdown is kind of crappy.
Also
Maybe
hurts
that's
the AA also hurts the Dragon Knight too. Very regen dependent here.
I'm not as confident in that one,
Well, it's not like a hard counter, but it's something. If you were going to base your strategy on DP and DK, I think the AA has value against both of those in different ways.
It's not bad, yeah. It's just that Dragon Knight has so much
There you
HP, and he's always so high in HP that it's... Yes, you can burst him, but you still got to get him to 10%, which is hard.
I mean, that's just one of those that, regardless of how you feel about Bane and Rubik being as a support duo, there's just not too much on the opposite side. It's such an open Rubik game, and I mean the Earthshaker, arguably makes Rubik even better if he can stay out that initial CC.
He has had some lacking in the last couple matches, though. Fnatic lost with it pretty dramatically with their support duo that didn't do much. And on the Liquid side, GH got some great Echo Slams and seemed to play relatively good, but it didn't really feel like it made a huge impact.
Yeah, I just feel like I feel like once you have the one lane lockdown support, the Witch Doctor, the Bane, you can get away with so much more at your 4 position.
The Earthshaker is a little bit dangerous here because of its its blow-up potential against Death Prophet, and another squishier core that would actually set up ViCi Gaming really well, which would be the Faceless Void.
Okay, pretty good timing.
Dota,
so
capitalist.
I think VP knew that pick was coming, and that's in part why they picked the Earthshaker.
So Void hasn't been played that much here. Generally, people criticize it for, like, you can Chronosphere and kill people sometimes, but it's a very long cooldown, so if it doesn't work out solo, you're on a big disadvantage. And it usually takes a lot of items to become high damage.
Very cooldown dependent lineup right now from ViCi Gaming. I think you need to be able to find a way to give you split push pressure that when you do use your Chronosphere and you use your Exorcism, you take some sort of fight, some sort of objective, you're not immediately slapped back down by VP.
If VP do not ban it here, if you go all the way back to Genting, ViCi Gaming ran a very, very similar draft to this with a Night Stalker in place of a Bane, and they 5th picked an Enigma. And that Enigma is also something that we've seen used in the lane against the Omni Knight.
Yeah, I think it's just an overall team fight counter in many ways. Yep. I think that would leave your lineup too slow for me personally, especially against VP and the way they like to play.
We picked twice already.
I was actually going to say the split push idea was Furion, and I just noticed that was actually VP's ban.
The ban, yep.
Yeah, the Bat Rider is the other hero that gives you a lot of very active split pushing and gives you great initiation. OD for VP.
Oh yeah.
I think would be a decent response to all of this because you've got the OD on the combination. It's a no one winning hero. Little bit nervous about the initiation aspect of ViCi Gaming, but
I mean, I guess they can keep him alive with Omni if he gets Chronosphered or whatever, but I feel like there's a lot of disable. Last time they matched up, Ramses had a lot of trouble playing OD against ViCi Gaming. They quickly transitioned to 2 Halberds and 2 Hexes, and he didn't really feel like he did much.
Okay, so VP are going to go with the safe option, the Dragon Knight.
I like that better because it's more able to survive some of these teamfight burst things that ViCi's dealing with. They actually don't have that much damage, but they got amazing control.
I completely agree with you because I think it was so important. Once I said OD, it was like you have no frontliner at that point in time, right? And you can't play without a frontliner against this kind of initiation that ViCi Gaming have, right? You need that hero to be very far forward to be able to keep back the presence of a Bat Rider jumping your back line and grabbing an Omni Knight or grabbing a Gyrocopter and pulling him out of position. So
yeah.
I fully agree with your analysis.
All right, let's get some predictions from you, Alan.
I mean, I think this is classic sort of battle of initiation versus counter initiation. This is as close a draft as I've seen the entire tournament. I am going to go ViCi because I had them ahead of the series.
Okay.
I'm going to go for Virtus.pro here. I like their AA pick. Hopefully it can do a lot.
It's actually going to be really simple for me, Paul. What did I say at the beginning of this whole entire segment? No Gyro DK on the same team, Virtus.pro.
I like it. Dreams do come true. Cap's dreams come true anyway. Let's bring in our commentary team for the grand final. Gents, you've got a Void in the middle of this. That should be some fun.
We have a Void in the middle of this. We also have something unusual, which we're going to keep as a little bit of a secret till we get into the game. But Fogged, before we do, without revealing the secret, what do you think about the drafts? Can you do it without revealing the secret?
Without revealing the secret, but, it's such a good one.
I want to see if you can tilt the balance here at all.
Well, I think both sides have their strengths. I think ViCi, they got everything that they wanted. They've got the 11 on the Bat Rider. They have so many different ways of initiation, lots of team fight. That's their jam. That's what we've seen them running over and over again.
It's time for the
And that's what
reveal.
they're gonna- and here comes the reveal.
At the
It
same
is
time they smoke, it's Ramsey's
Omni
Omni
Knight.
Knight.
Yeah.
So
I
they
think-
are mixing things up. Pasha to the DK and Ramsey's on the Omni.
I guess it's like a response to the Batrider. They're just giving a lot of respect to 11. And they're already, yeah, like you said, smoking up. They're looking to take this first blood to scout the lanes out as well.
We've seen so many of these aggressive smoke maneuvers from sides throughout this entire time, the entire tournament. And sometimes it works out. This time it looks to be one of those cases. The homing missile going towards Lanham, the fissure, holding him a little bit closer. Support is here from VG. They brought everyone as well. Now is VP coming in from the dire side. They're focusing the Rubik and they'll bring him down. But where is the extra fight? 11 may be the next target. Running up the river. Roger's too far away and the fissure still on cooldown. So everyone will disengage, but first blood is spilt by Virtus.pro.
And who got that one? It was Pasha, right?
It was indeed Pasha, it was the DK.
So now he's going to be able to pretty much buy a full Magic Wand to match up versus the Batrider. That's going to help them a whole lot in the start of the game. And look at the approach that they're doing. They're actually... Well, see ya, Ramses. You're now off lane. Pasha's playing the carry DK.
It feels kind of odd, right? Like, we've watched it with a lot of the teams recently where the 2s, the 3s, the 1s, like, it doesn't even matter what lane you're in right now.
They swapped.
They've swapped it?
They swapped
Okay. Ramsey's going bottom. So we've at least seen this, what heroes we normally see is off laners always running in the safe lane and then seeing these dual off lanes with a roaming support. How do you think it works for Ramsey? Like, he's on this bot lane, you'll have Solo to help him out, so we do have the dual lane. Does VG Gaming switch this up? Do they try and get the better matchup they want?
Oh,
or
yeah.
are they fine with Batrider versus Omni Knight?
I think that they want the Bat versus the DK mostly, but because they don't want it versus the Omni Knight. However, I think that's where VP's draft kind of comes in that clever aspect, where I think both the DK and the Omni Knight, they can do decent versus the Batrider. DK less so, but they can definitely find their farm and not get so punished.
Small little thing that was scouted out, Fenrir's ward placement, Ori. Fissure, it's going to be thrown out. He is body blocked up. Homing missiles out, plus rocket barrage. Ori copping so much damage. The homing missile will hold him in place for another rocket barrage, but then again, they don't need it. The damage is enough.
Roger's just been on fire with all of his early rotations in this tournament.
Yep. Like we were having the discussion before this whole battle was beginning, like, who do we actually give the Mercedes-Benz to? Who do our votes go towards? And like you're considering actually giving it over to 11. And personally, like, I'm with Roger. Right now, my vote is with Roger. I loved his performance yesterday, always at initiator, and he just leads the way for Virtus.pro's attacks.
I'm fine with giving it to Roger.
Ramsey's that time lock. They may go under the tower now for this one. They got the extra damage to time walk forward. Paparazzi, where's the extra help? Solo's nearby, but he's only an ancient apparition. So VG Gaming getting the kill behind the tier 1 tower and the trees. So you're still with 11?
Someone's gotta be for ViCi, right? They've been playing so spectacular this tournament, so I do have to give it to one of their players.
Need to get that voting system down into China and then see what happens.
Yeah.
The balance shall swing.
Radiant's middle tower.
So instantly they do swap those lanes. Omni Knight, after dying, heads top to match up versus the Bat. DK wants to go bottom versus the Void.
Yep.
And they can continue these lanes because with no one in mid, with that Earthshaker rotations, they have kill threat every single time on Ori when he doesn't have all the spirits.
Oh, Roger, he got the fissure block once again. Ori can't get out this one. The homing missile was on cooldown, so now it can be triggered. He'll come back up, giving Lanham some space to play with. Doesn't have telekinesis just yet. Now he does, but Lanham is merely the buffer to keep Ori alive, while on bottom lane, the cold feet, the lock with the Dragon Tail. Fenrir is going to get stunned up. He did get the brain tap up, so the extra life nightmare is over on the DK, but it won't stop Solo from slapping him down. That chilling touch bonus damage being just enough to get VP the kill.
And the unorthodox skill build too, being the 1-1 rather than having any in Dragon's Blood, just catching ViCi a little bit off guard there.
That bonus damage.
Yeah.
It's a lot of confidence from Pasha when he does that kind of lane swap to do such a thing, because it's been the standard from the DK.
They want the combo to be able to proc the cold feet, so they need that stun early on. He's even got 2 in Breathe Fire as well to keep that pressure going.
Yeah, they really want kills.
Yeah.
I suppose it's the only way. Yeah, you kill off Faceless Void before he can time walk away. You need to have burst damage. You need stun control.
So the big thing for mid lane is they have to be sure to kind of like bait out the Spirit Siphons, because with 2 Spirit Siphons, I believe it's going to be a bit hard for them to actually burst down Ori until they get higher levels. Once they've got 6 on the gyro, they can start threatening more for those kills.
I think Roger's just waiting for to go for the bounty rune run. Like, if you can get a kill on mid, fantastic. If you can't, it is what it is. Yep, they're going again. Time dilation over on Solo, getting a time lock from Paparazzi. Pasha's in the neighborhood. Fenrir just resetting back up again as the brain sap available. That's why Pasha stuns him up, and the range is still there for Fenrir. Damn, that brain sap range looks a lot smaller than it really is. Solo's in trouble with Lanham. Ramsey's is low as well, but the cold feet, that's going to trigger over on the Rubik. Solo was just battling for the runes.
He's got a lot of wand charges.
No.
Just playing with each other because he has vision of bottom.
Still a heavy commitment from ViCi Gaming now, holding these 3 heroes down. It may pay off. Nightmare is out. Roger's still on the run. A lot of sticky napalm charges. Solo's dying in the bottom river with Paparazzi jumping forward. Fenrir can just brain sap him out, but now it's 11 being turned on the top lane. Very hard to be aggressive when you've got the fissure control and then the purification.
They've done a remarkable job, though, of keeping the pressure on Ori. Gyro is getting close to level 6. Death Prophet's only level 4 3/4. And look at the last hits. 26 bottom now.
Yeah, cold feet. It's managed to snap the Nightmare, causing problems. Paparazzi, he'll time walk out. Fenrir, the Vortex being is slowing him down. And the cold feet, they won't be able to get that Dragon Tail stun, it's too far away.
That was beautiful by Fenrir, using the Nightmare to disjoint the cold feet proc on Paparazzi.
Thought it was only just to stop the damage, but yeah. More support coming towards the mid. The smoke gank up by the ES. Looking to rotate around. At the same time, that level 3 Rubik is in the neighborhood.
It's level 6 Gyro. They want to get active with it.
Fissure. There's the body block with the call down. And now homing missiles coming in. Spirit Siphon. Currently, it's out, and it's on a catapult. There's enough to give Ori enough life, as no one taunts his way back to his side of the river. I think Lanham's actually here to try and negate some of this. Like, how often do you see a Rubik go on 1-1-1 build, as opposed to getting the extra points up in the burst from Fadebolt? Roger's in trouble on the top. There's a haste rune as well. There's no outrunning this. And they body block. The cold feet's there with the fissure stun. Roger going back into the pit. Ori can keep up with him quickly, but the denial from Roshan. Attempted, but not allowed thanks to the Crypt Swarm.
They have to protect the Death Prophet when the Gyrocopter's got such an advantage. And look at no one. He's actually just trying to pressure all the lanes now. So 3 lanes looking really solid for VP at the moment. Even kill score, though.
Yeah. For the net worth, the top 3, they belong to Virtus.pro. Go the entire way. Don't worry, it was worth seeing that for the death of the Bane who died above Roshan. And now in towards mid. The fissure is out. The cold feet should be able to proc. No, if it doesn't, the homing missile will do the work instead. And Ori will fall no one after killing off the Bane. Doubles up on Ori in the mid.
Roger in the right place at the right time. And not only just Roger, Solo too. Level 5 on Ancient Apparition already.
They're going bottom. Pasha, Lanham, he actually started with a Fade Bolt. He'll get the pick up and throw back. Lasso's available, that's why Pasha, Dragon Tail stuns him. Pasha, he needs more friends, he needs more help, because that is an approaching Batrider who will have the lasso if required. And maybe it is, no it's not. He's on top of him with a Firefly with 4 stacks of sticky napalm. The DK with only 1 point up in Dragon, blood burns.
Tons of lane rotations coming out.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Ori's still
Radiant's bottom
heavily under pressure here. There's level 7 now on Gyrocopter to level 5 Death Prophet. There's a chance that Solo hits level 6 very early on the AA as well, and that could really limit Ori's chance to get back in this game.
That Ice Blast just stopping any kind of regeneration for the Death Prophet. As long as they can control her, keep her in one position. So far it has been working out. Roger is having a little bit of a harder life until he gets those arcane boots, but he's still been there at the right time to get the fissures off.
He's playing this old kind of roaming Earthshaker that we used to see a lot around like the TI4 era. He's just stacking camps and just playing around your mid lane constantly.
Well, he gets the extra money for it, right?
Yep.
All towards the Blink Dagger. VP so quick on their lane rotations. The second VG think they can get an upper hand on it. Like Paparazzi is facing up against the DK. There's an Ancient Apparition right behind him. They got a good defensive Observer Ward down too.
They're really limiting 11 from doing what he did in the other games that he's been playing this Batrider and just getting out of control after the laning phase. He does have a lot of stacks though for the Bat. We see him now taking out 2 triple stacks. Gonna have that Blink almost finished after it.
It's very nice for the Rubik as well. I think he was actually one of the primary ones to stack these camps.
Yeah. He stacked all the right big camps.
And with the Invis rune, he walks right underneath the Radiant Observer Ward, so they can go on Pasha, pick him up, throw him back in again. You've got the extra control. And it's all about 4 hero rotation, Exorcism as well. They really wanted that dead Pasha.
They have to turn this into some tower threat here with the Exorcism. They should be able to as well.
But
There was
VP
a
are looking
smoke-
elsewhere.
Yeah, there was a smoke going toward top before Pasha died, but now they redirect themselves. They should be able to find Lanham here pretty easily.
Yeah. Easy Fissure, easy cold feet, easy life. No one claiming now his 4th kill of the 6 that VP have for this game. But Ramses will add pressure to the bottom lane as well, so you're taking the tier 1 tower up on top. Or you should be at least. Maybe you're not. DK starts his TP. Gyro's coming in. Pasha. Dragon Tail stun onto the Faceless Void. Fenrir's in the neighborhood. Nightmares onto Pasha.
Lasso on mid stops no one's TP.
Yep, but now no one will just stand his ground and fight up against 11. 11 taking way too much damage. Ramses comes in to help. And Paparazzi and Solid can battle around Roshan. Is Bane, who's currently cold snapped up, controlled by Roger. He has to Chrono, killing off the Ancient Apparition. Paparazzi will get one. The trade-off is going to be his own support, however. And both teams back to objective-based gaming.
Neither team really getting too much tower damage out of either of those movements, but
The bottom
VP
tier 1 was almost dead though.
Yeah.
That's the upside.
VP getting a lot out of their rotations though, and they still have Ori quite shut down. And now they know Exorcism's down. Now they know the Chrono's down as well. They can look to continue that aggression.
Ramses, those 4 points in DGen Aura making it difficult for 11 to get away. He's playing the cliffside. StarCraft 2 is not meant to happen until next week with the Reaper jumps. But 11, they're just trying to protect him. He's so close to that Blink Dagger, he cannot afford to die.
He's going to be really crucial for them to get back in this, because at the moment now, this no-one Gyrocopter is absolutely enormous. 5,300 net worth in comparison to the 3,700 of the Void. Pasha now is able to threaten top with that first Elder Dragon form usage.
Yeah, dropping it down nice and low. Rubik is able to defend the bottom lane now. He's got level 6 and stole the 4 points in Purification.
The Dream Steal, and gets the deny.
No. But you can see Solo now being more aggressive with his visioning. So the Observer Ward goes down on top of the Dire Shrine, watching that Trinity camp. So they know when the Bat Rider's farming up. But Bat Rider, he's got the cash for it now. So expect smoke. Okay, nice steal from Pasha with the Breathe Fire. But Young 11, he has the money for the Blink Dagger. The Courier's just busy at the moment, bringing smoke to the mid.
They were looking for Ori in mid. First Ice Blast usage. Lanham's gonna sit behind Ori now for the most part with this Purification. Will make it a lot harder for them to kill the Death Prophet as long as he's not clipped by that AA Blast.
Yeah. Pressure on Solo to do such a thing. But Teamfight Big Ultis, he's an expert at it. Disruptor, I think, is still like his #1, but Ancient Apparition, he has to be close behind.
They're just sitting around the mid lane waiting to punish that Death Prophet.
Here's a 3 smoke. They're coming top. They're looking for the tier 1 tower.
They've got DK
You've still got
soon.
Bat Rider wants to initiate here. They'll walk underneath the Dire Observe Ward, so it's going to be VG Gaming who feels secure this time around. Lorania scanning behind the tower, he's not there. Pings right on top of Paparazzi. Chronosphere is available, and the rest of the support. They found Solo. He's a huge kill to actually pick up. He'll get his Ice Blast off on Lanham, and they want to get more. There's your pullback, Paparazzi. He time blocks off the damage. He'll survive. 11 won't be so lucky. The Chronosphere, it's a pure escape mechanism at the moment for Paparazzi. He needs to get back to his teammates. Can't believe Solo was actually able to survive through this too. Paparazzi homing missiles on him. It is so difficult to run away from this time. What comes off cooldown, but the Purification from Ramses seals the deal before he can get the jump.
The speed at which VP's moving, ViCi's just unable to respond to it. They actually have to use both defensive Lasso and Chronosphere there to try to protect themselves, and now the aggression's not done.
Yeah, can they close the distance? Ori starts his TP, the Echo Slam. Looking for the extra damage and to cancel the TP, but Fenrir, the Ice Blast is coming in. It's just chain kills right now in favor of Virtus.pro.
Did you see the build that Ramses is going as well on the Omni Knight? It might be the first one that we'll ever see.
The Battle Fury style, Pasha, trouble up on top. No. TP out home very, very simply.
They're playing so well right now on the side of VP.
A Battle Fury Omni Knight with a 4 points DGen, 4 points Purify.
He's playing the carry Omni, man.
Yeah. It's not really something you think you need to do, right? Because you just Purify to get rid of a creep wave. Or so what's the purpose of the Battle Fury apart from just nice increase in damage and regen?
He wants to scale too. He gets the 90 damage perk at 15. He's going to be hitting pretty hard.
90 damage perk with the Okay, yeah, I can feel that. Do you know anyone else that's done that before?
I've never seen Battle Fury Omni Knight. Not in Dota 2, in Dota 1.
Covering your bases, not dealing in absolutes. I see what you're doing there, Fog. Let's not bring up the history of Dota 2.
You just did.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Crap. It's a trap. All right, they're looking really fantastic anyway, so yeah, you don't need to scale much more than this. Fenrir on the run, the homing missile. It chases after him. It's only a level 1, however, so minimal damage, but the call down, the Ice Blast, they're all searching for Fenrir, but he's back to the tier 2 tower. It won't stop no one from diving. He's got 10-1 charges, phase boots are coming off cooldown, and with the Purify, they have the confidence to go in deeper. Solo gets picked off in the meantime in front of Roshan, and Fenrir actually TP's out. They lost the vision, they didn't want to stick around.
Wow.
And VG, not only will they get the kill, they'll take the tier 1 tower on bottom lane. Fortification is delaying this, but with Ori's Exorcism committed, that is most definitely a tower gone.
They have to get a lot out of all their ultis now on the side of ViCi, so they don't start falling further and further behind. Because if you look at VP's lineup, they're not as ulti reliant in the early game in comparison.
I think Roger's in trouble. He was underneath the observe ward. Paparazzi, he'll move north to get the extra vision. Looking for the time lock, but the lasso from 11 will do the work. And this is a dangerous zone for Virtus.pro. Yes, their 2 cores are so far in front, but VG Gaming, these small little picks, they're starting to repair the 7K deficit.
He's got the Battle Fury.
Scale time. This is ancient farming now for Ramses. He's still not 15 yet, so he doesn't have the +90.
He's gonna farm pretty fast whenever he can push lanes out easier too, even with Purify on top. No one gets a free mid tower. Almost has, actually does have a full SNY finished up with phase drum already on the gyrocopter.
This is the first time in a while, too, we've seen a DK that hasn't gone for a Shadow Blade or a Blink Dagger. He's gone for the Armlet as his first major item. Playing the slower game. Does that actually give a little bit of intent as well for what Virtus.pro have in mind?
I think they're comfortable with taking it to the later stages. They're fine as long as all 3 of their core scale. Sure, he wants to get one of those initiating items, though, so that he can start the fights, because there's something that we always say is like these Earthshakers, these Magnuses, these type of heroes, like these big initiators or counter initiators, you want someone else to start the fight. And having DK with the Blink will allow Earthshaker to have a little bit more liberty to set himself up for echoes and fissures.
Yeah.
And Roger's about
VP
to
a Blink
have...
team, right? Like
Yeah.
in their games, are probably like Nahal's going to get a setup for this one, but I would not be surprised if we get like 3 close to 4 average Blink Daggers on these guys every time they play. That's what it was yesterday with Ramsey's Blink Dagger on Death Prophet.
Yeah, Ramsey's queued one up as well in the Omni Knight next. So, but the Blink Dagger on the Omni Knight is more standard, especially versus Void. Positioning is super important to be able to get that GA off during the Chronosphere so you don't get bursted to the Exorcism.
Well, he's holding all of that wonderful damage back, while Pasha and no one beat into the tier 2 tower. They can continuously push if they want to. The Ice Blast is heading towards the north, and this will slow down the pressure.
They don't want to give any breathing room to ViCi. They know that they have a very big lead at the moment, and they know that ViCi's gone for the Battle Fury build on the Void too.
11, Firefly comes off cooldown. Does he want to jump up? He may have to. Blink away. No, the Fissure will connect before he blinks. Batrider will go down.
Don't give them any space.
Yep.
They got the tier 2 for free. They know that they can play aggressive on the other side of the map, and they can actually threaten the top tier 2 as well now because they didn't have to expend Dragon Form during all that.
Faceless Void's trying to up his scaling too. Battle Fury on the Faceless Void.
Yeah, he needs to in this game since he's what we like to call is like that solo core. Sure, Death Prophet can scale in a way, but he needs to be that true one on the Void. Or he's still trying to recover. He's level 11 on the Death Prophet. Has his Yos at least finished up. The BKB is going to be extremely important versus this heavy magic damage lineup that VP has.
Yeah.
But still, level 11 on Death Prophet, level 11 on Void, compared to level 14 on Gyro and Omni Knight.
Yeah, they know they can't fight. This is the reason why VP can just continue to take objectives. The tier 2 tower on the top lane goes down. Roger, like he's got his farm for the Blink Dagger already done, working towards a 4-staff. He has to defend the bottom lane.
He's just hoping someone goes down here so he can set up on them.
Still only a level 1 Echo Slam.
Yeah.
Only downside. Now cracks his level 11. Ramses. He has the blink. 18.5 minutes in. Blink, Battle Fury, phase treads, 1. Phase drums, 1.
They have 2 cores that have passed that 10,000 gold before 20 minutes, which is usually a big staple for many teams when you're farming really well. And the Gyrocopter no one is about to have BKB, so a lot of the the damage coming out, especially from that Bat Rider, is going to be negated.
I love the simultaneous scans from both VP and VG,
Radiant's middle tower
checking the
is
north
under
and south entrances to the Radiant jungle.
ViCi, they want to take a fight. They are actually just shy of level 2
But they-
Exorcism on Ori.
They can still do Roshan though. Like they have enough survivability to do this. They just have to commit heavily. Oh wait, are they expecting VP to be in there? Because VP are now coming. They're also 5-man smoked up, moving to the Roshan pit. The Vortex, try and get vision inside of Roshan. No one's there.
They really want Ori to be level 12. He needs level 2 Exorcism for the next fight, and he does claim it up top.
All right.
They need that extra damage, because right now they are very limited in damage in the Chronosphere without Exorcism being high level.
Well, VP, they're going in. VG Gaming, will they recognize this soon enough? Dragontel, keep the stuns going onto Roshan. 11, he's a fantastic hero. It's that Bat Rider to try and contest Roshan. Just needs to get the right time with the Firefly, and he's got the perfect time. Roshan at 2k HP. Solo will see him. They put the cold feet, so no blink abilities here for 11. But the rest of VG, Paparazzi, ready for that jumping chrono. With the Echo Slam, Roger will catch 2 in the backlines. Even the Fidget Stun on Paparazzi. They hit the ultimate. They hit the Ice Blast on Ori. He cannot join the fight. Roshan, Paparazzi, he did snatch out that Aegis to the Immortal. So Ramsey will have to kill him off twice, but they move forward. The Exorcism going to work. Roger, he'll go down to Ori. Now the ultimate has blown off on him. Ori can join this fight with the Spirit Siphon to do some work, but Pasha stands on top. Ori cannot survive. The Flame Break will connect on the DK. He's got more than enough regeneration to survive, while 11 does not. He'll take a fall. Rubik's on the run, but he's in range of Ramsey's aura. Nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. VG Gaming lose 4. They still have the Aegis Immortal in the Faceless Void, but that was not the steal they were looking for. Roger on the money.
Yeah, the ward being placed on the high ground before the fight was taken, so Roger sees the perfect opportunity to stop the rest of the aggression. Like we said, they don't have a lot of damage inside that Chronosphere. It's pretty much just the Exorcism. They're able to isolate Ori. VP's just playing so fast in this game.
They really are. And how does VG even respond, even when Death Prophet's back to life again? It's a minute and a half before Exorcism has arrived.
It's a Rax. They don't have Chrono, they don't have Exorcism, they can't take this fight.
So Faceless Void just takes the tier 1 tower up on top. You get what you can. Lanham at least can steal Purification. Echo Slam plus Ancient Apparition ultimate connecting on the marks. You just don't know how you fight in that if you're VG.
Top tower is under attack.
They at least have the Aegis, all right? At least they got that, but they're definitely on the big time back foot right now.
The Aegis is stopping VP from continuing the push and potentially taking a tier 2. Paparazzi can time walk, starts his TP. The homing missile won't reach him in time, but now we have a global ability that we can watch. Maybe we shouldn't though. As Pasha on bottom lane. 11 would love to have a crack at this. Firefly's in 3 seconds time.
VP can continue this quick pace though. Like we were talking about, they're not as limited as ViCi are on their ultis. They've got Echo Slam up in about 20 seconds as well. That's probably what they can just wait for. Get that BKB on Ramses. But they're in a very comfortable position right now with the pace of the game. Everything's been going their way.
Dire's top shrine is
So how does
under
VG
attack.
change the tempo? Like, is it 4-man smokes? Is it just working with 11?
They have
and
to
giving Faceless Void space to farm and get bigger?
They have to just protect Ori in the fights. That's the problem. I think vision is actually going to be the biggest thing for me. Getting a gem, clearing out those wards, because they're not able to get those initial jumps like they usually have been when they've been playing with 11 Bat Rider. Every time that they've won with him on it, he gets the jump. He gets the start of the fight. While in this situation, it's been VP every single time leading the charge. So I think the vision is going to be really important for the upcoming ones. If they can catch several heroes inside the Chrono with the Death Prophet protected, then they've actually got a shot to take it versus VP. But it's a pretty large gold advantage at the moment. 14k and 10k experience.
Yeah, it just keeps rising for VP. But VG Gaming, they're not forcing the issue on bottom. They added a little bit of pressure and then backed off. VP looked like they didn't actually have any desire to fight this. In fact, they were pushing out the lanes faster by triggering Dragon Form on Pasha.
First pro Battle Fury on Omni since at least 2013.
Did Mally know all along what happened in 2013 with this, with these guys? It was the Battle Fury.
So Ramsey switches to the S and Y since he's got his own repel, but Pasha almost has BKB. So they're going to be very durable on their cores.
Oh, here they come. The line is drawn from Virtus.pro. Push bottom lane. Ori needs to get a lot more momentum out of this top lane. If they're going to get VP to look behind, 11 potentially can creep skip too. He's just hiding in the trees between the towers.
They're trying to press the issue on the side of VP before the BKBs come out on ViCi, because a lot of their damage is still magical. And they know that those cores still don't have them. They were watching this whole time, actually. They've been spotting Paparazzi jumping through the jungle, trying to finish that one up.
Well, Ori's almost got his. He's only 100 gold away from it. So that's a nice thing for him. Lanham's also got the Blink Dagger, so they're getting more items to be useful. I think the only one who's kind of starving is the Bane, but that's to be understood because he's a Bane.
The vision by VP is ridiculous this game. They have 6 wards on the map at the moment.
They're TPing in. Paparazzi just used his time walk before this. He'll have to use it after. The damage and the stun lock. They'll burn the Aegis Immortal. Lanham, what do you want to do here? He's in the neighborhood. He'll pick up the ES. Ends up getting Echo Slam. Roger! He jumped perfectly. Paparazzi into his open arms. Lanham will go down as well as the attack flies through the air. Roger sees a fissure, but the time dilation's making it really, really difficult to catch him. He'll sit in the trees, TP to Farble. He'll throw the fissure, then blink up. Roger! Roger! How does he know? How does he know? Lanham! Now manure.
And mid as well. 11 gets picked off.
Oh.
This, honestly, the warding vision, the warding game by VP is crazy this game. Yeah. They've just seen every single time where all of ViCi's heroes are. So they know, they're like, oh look, Void's top, there's a Rubik sitting behind him, and we see the Bat Rider mid. They just have vision of absolutely everything in the game. And this should be the second Rax here.
There will be. There's no way to defend. Ori cannot go into this battle, even with his BKB up and running. They need the Chronosphere from Faceless Void to make this a real fight. In Virtus.pro, they could take the Rax, and now back up. No risk to be taken.
Yeah, they've already cleared out all the shrines as well. 20k gold lead, 21 now.
No sorceries avail.
Continuing to be more and more out of control for ViCi.
I just love that play from Roger. I just want to watch that back and like.
He's been in the right place at the right time the entire game, even from the beginning, from laning phase.
It's not even to fall for like, it's fissure bait, right? Like a fissure and I TP, I get the sunlock. Doesn't happen, blink up, follow him. ViCi Gaming, they need something now. Problem is with the middle lane and the top lane pressuring in all the time, the second they leave their base, VP will know about it. You talked about the vision game previously, now the creep wave is helping Virtus.pro.
I think ViCi's a little bit trapped here at the moment. There's not really great options for them. Taking a fight into VP is pretty much impossible because they don't have the damage to deal with these heroes anymore. I think they have to get like a 5-man chrono.
I love that movement speed on Ramses. When he triggers off his phase boots, I've just never seen an Omni like run that fast with like so much brutality inside of him.
It's just because the Battle Fury.
Yeah.
The Battle Fury just makes him look scarier.
Shouldn't work that way though, right? It should have like a battle mallet. So like, technically this isn't Bat Rider, this is Owl Rider for 11.
I like the Owl.
The Owl does look very cool. I like the Manta Rider.
So Butterfly finished on no one.
Yeah,
10-0 and 8 on that gyrocopter, involved in 18 of the 20 kills for his team. Been incredibly active.
It's actually crazy just how much they can do that. Like 18 kills for the gyrocopter for no one, like that's, as in involved in. Just shows you how VP set the tempo, how
and look
VP
at Roger.
play this.
Roger's having fun right now.
Disco in the lane. Hiding under the Shadow Amulet.
They just know they have to keep the 3 lanes forced in, and if that's the case, they're always going to know that ViCi's not making a move.
I'm almost waiting for like Roger to try and set us off on the TI clap. I think that is there an ability that gets his hands to that point without burning the ultimate. Faces Void as his BKB. This time has to be now or never, right, for VG.
Like, it comes down to that they can't. Their 2 lanes are getting pushed in constantly because they've got Raxes down. So VP, they just need to play as a unit, and they can never really falter to this.
Roshan's spawn time is instant. It didn't even have a second on it. I was looking to put the clock up, and Ramses scouts it so quickly. This is just enabling VP.
Yeah, and Aegis and Cheese versus Chronosphere, it's one of the best.
Because there's no way just to get an instant kill.
Yeah.
Like, even Ori, like, what does he want to do? Like, you get the Chronosphere off, but unless you hit, like, a 3-man Chronosphere with Exorcism getting all of his damage in, one target by another.
They have to get the Omni Knight inside of the Chrono as well.
Yeah. Which is almost impossible. Like, Ramses is 1, moving so fast, but 2, even if he is inside the Chrono, I don't think you kill him.
I don't think they can kill many of the cores. They're all so durable now.
Invisibility.
it's really looking like a massive uphill battle for ViCi.
And VG are the ones meant to be having that high ground. So here we go again. Waiting for Batrider, almost throw down the pre-Firefly. But the top lane is on the ramp. The middle lane's about there too. This push can come from Virtus.pro, but they're not under any kind of real time pressure. 11, there's your Blink Lasso, 4-star back. They want the Gyrocopter, pulling him in very, very deep. They're trying to burn the Agency Mortar, but they haven't even got him yet. The Flame Break, now they can crack it. Rubik was the sacrifice for it all. Remember, you've still got the Chronosphere available, but the Echo Slam. Roger is there at the right time. Fiend's Grip is out, but Fenrir, he can't survive inside of this. No one from VG can. Ori is running back to the only safe place, and that's backstage. VP own this map, and they own game 1.
I don't know if they made any mistakes on the side of VP. That was flawless execution from start to finish. Roger sitting around the mid lane, shutting down Ori. They know this Death Prophet's coming. ViCi's ran it so many times. VP just understood exactly what to do with it. This third pick AA really limited them from even trying to be able to come back in the game.
Yeah,
it just looked flawless.
It looked very flawless. I thought for a moment that it could have bounced around a little bit more when you had the Ancient Apparition, like when you had that fight around Roshan, but then the AA and the ES hit.
Yep.
Like the second Roger hit that Echo Slam on the back line, and Ori was just shut down during one of his biggest moments. It just hurt. So VP, game 1 goes to them. Game 2, whose hands does it belong to? Red, give us an answer.
Thank you very much, Toby. Yes, a first game in the bag for the partisan crowd inside the Spottek Arena. They're cheering on the Virtus.pro boys, and they have some success to celebrate from game number 1. Our play faster moment will, of course, come a little bit later on, courtesy of our friends at Vodafone. What's going to be that play faster moment? We've seen a couple of fast moves so far. Maybe that little Aegis steal in the last game. We'll have to find out a little bit later on. Right now, we're back with our panel members to break down game number 1. Gents.
I'll tell you what wasn't fast in that game. The very slow DK pickup. ViCi Gaming had so many opportunities to be able to ban it, and they gave them DK Gyro and Omni.
Just to make it worse.
It was a winning lineup for VP that they just love.
Do you think maybe they just gave it to them because it's game 1, best of 5? You do that sometimes. You give them the heroes that you think that they love and they want to play on, and you try and counter it.
Probably because of what Kevin said, which was like they might like the Death Prophet versus DK matchup.
I don't think you do that. Give people their strats when it's like the last pick. That's more like a, you left it in the pool, you think you can maybe beat it. It's more, when you give people picks, it's like the first couple and you try to work your strategy around it, in my opinion. I think VP just, they won their lanes fairly well. The ViCi draft didn't really do that much other than team fight and disable. Void does not quickly translate into a damage hero. You can go Battle Fury to farm creeps to buy items that do damage, or you can just go like Mask of Madness Diffusal or Mask of Madness Shadowblade to get kills. But if he has Battle Fury, he deals no damage, and he can Chronosphere people, and that's about it. So ViCi just couldn't do anything.
What about the change-up from Virtus.pro with the Omni?
I think that the biggest single problem with that game wasn't, I think focusing on one hero is a bit of a mistake, other than the fact that this is now, what, 4 games or something in a row that VP feel like they're baiting in these drafts, right? They gave EG the Wisp yesterday, had a way to counter it. They gave, baited VG into the first phase. Death Prophet, obviously we're very ready for that with the AA and other picks. And I think if you look over across the whole tournament, ViCi had been getting away with these very slow tempo, very cooldown reliant lineups because they've been so technically proficient in the laning phase. But you see in this game, when you're at a tempo disadvantage and a cooldown disadvantage, if you can't execute in the lanes, you're really going to get rolled. And AA and DP were level 5 at the same time. For all that we put emphasis on the side lane meta, they put pressure on the mid lane, did VP. ViCi were obviously unprepared for that, and Ori was just not a hero in this game.
Did ViCi have anything in that game, Cap? Any highlights?
They had their Death Prophet.
I think Paparazzi
They didn't really, there was
well,
no highlights.
Paparazzi played well to the extent of his hero's abilities. We should probably mention the Battle Fury Omni Knight as well.
First ever.
I mean, I think what they just did was they won the lanes, and instead of buying like a Midas, you can just buy a Battle Fury, and then if you're on against these cooldown rallying teams, everybody in your team just spreads out and farms like crazy, because you know ViCi Gaming is going to 5-man a lot, and if all 3 of your cores can farm insanely fast, no matter what happens, if they turtle in their base, you will have so many items they can't even get close to you. Whereas normally it's just like a Terrorblade +1, But this in this game, they had 3 different heroes that could farm like crazy. Like ViCi just guaranteed, or Virtus.pro guaranteed the game by going Battle Fury and other stuff.
And there's nothing wrong with Ramses playing sort of like almost a 1 or 2 position style Omni Knight. You have a level 15 talent that gives you 90 damage. The hero's also quite tanky, so it really fits into the concept of this sort of tank meta that we're seeing right now, particularly against this matchup where you have a Void who's not going to give you any real damage anyway. So another problem I think was the 4 position pickup. We were talking about that Big Bat stage. When we were looking through the draft, I felt like there was no 4 positions left for ViCi Gaming that they would be happy with. And that is a big problem, especially since your 4 position is oftentimes a team fighter. It's a damage dealer of sorts, and you pick up a Void, but you have a Bane and a Rubik. Like, neither one of those heroes is really going to follow up on that. So I think ViCi Gaming, or excuse me, Virtus.pro did a very good job of being able to address that. They had the ET banned in the first phase, the Nagasiren banned in the first phase, and then Sand King was actually the one banned by ViCi Gaming, I believe. So.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's like not a whole lot left, right?
Yep. Not a lot left in there at all.
It's surprising that we haven't seen more of that, right? Because we've talked throughout the tournament about if there's one position in this meta that's become very concentrated in terms of number of heroes, it's been the 4 position. And yet we've seen relatively few drafts where teams have really concentrated on banning out that position.
So we were on the right path, just the wrong direction or something.
Yeah.
We said, hey, like deal with Roger's hero pool, and
No,
like
that's exactly
VP's
right.
like, oh, good idea, Cap.
I'm sure that's what they said. In fact, why don't we check out what they said, because Shiva right now is backstage with the Virtus.pro manager to get his thoughts on game number 1 and a look ahead to game 2.
I am indeed. Thank you, Paul. I'm standing here together with Dima or Dimitri. Congratulations on your team winning game 1.
Yeah, thank you.
So you have a flag. You've been cheering them on. Are you Virtus.pro's biggest fan?
Yes, I'm my team's biggest fan.
So what do you do when like in the grand finals like this for your team?
I'm watching and cheering for my team. Like, I'm support them mentally.
And in between series, I noticed you just had to run off to sort something out and then come back.
Of course, coffee, tea, anything they need, you know, like they need care almost always. So I'm trying to do my best.
And you've started to be their manager right before the Kiev Major, so that was already Virtus.pro's grand finals for a major.
Yeah, that was my first tournament and first grand final. It was an amazing feeling. Amazing.
Was it better than obviously ESL Hamburg when they actually won?
I cannot compare, you know, it was my first time. You know what I'm saying, you know? So they're different. They're all very good emotions and very strong emotions. So I won't compare them.
All right, fair enough. So game 2, if there's something crazy going on, I mean, we saw just an Omni Knight, carry Omni Knight, do you know that in advance that's gonna happen?
Nope.
They don't tell you anything?
Nothing.
Oh, very strict team there. I wish you good luck in game number 2.
Thank you. Cheer for us. Woohoo!
I think Virtus.pro has a lot of fans out there, but can they take that second game? We're gonna find out after a break. We'll be right back.
Roger has 2 in the back lines, even the fidget summon Paparazzi. They hit the ultimate, they hit the ice blast on Ori. He cannot join the fight. Roshan, Paparazzi, he did snatch out that Aegis to the Immortal, so Ramsey's left to kill him off twice, but they move forward. The Exorcism going to work. Roger, he'll go down to Ori. Now the ultimate has blown off on him. Ori can join this fight with the Spirit Siphon to do some work, but Pasha stands on top. Ori cannot survive. The Flame Break will connect on the DK. He's got more than enough regeneration to survive, while 11 does not. He'll take a fall. Rubik's on the run, but he's in range of Ramsey's aura. Nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. VG game.
I do. I want to get in there.
Wow.
Are you dead?
Yeah,